Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be explaining about submerged arc welding process. We already know about electric arc welding process. So submerged arc welding process is also one type of electric arc welding process, but there is two differences. First one is it is a fully automatic process, and second one is the arc is not visible to us. So the arc is submerged in granular flux. So it is electric arc welding or arc welding, and it is automatic, and the arc is not visible. Arc is in submerged in granular flux. So it is called submerged arc welding process. So submerged arc welding, or in short SAW, is an arc welding process where the arc is formed between a continuously fed electrode and the workpiece, and the welding zone is completely covered by a layer of granular flux. So it is completely covered by the granular flux. The welding zone or the spark is generated is not visible to us. The spark is covered by granular flux, and also when we are feeding the electrode is fed continuously. In arc welding or in manual arc welding, the electrode is not continuously feeding up. So but here the electrode is fed continuously, and it is also fed automatically. That's why it is called automatic welding process. The flux prevents spatter, reduces fumes, and seals the molten metal from atmospheric contamination. So here the process, we can see this is the base metal which will be welded using submerged arc welding, and this is electrode, and this is bare electrode and consumable electrode. So it is consumable bare electrode, and it is the tube, which by the tube the electrode is fed up continuously, and this is arc, and this is granular flux, and this is the flux feeding tube. These flux are fed up by this flux feed tube, and these granular flux cover the welding zone. So firstly, when we are about to start the weld, the flux is first given here, granular flux is provided here, and the workpiece is moved forward. That's this from right to left, the workpiece forwarded this side, and when the electricity is provided or the welding is getting started, this portion is fully covered by the granular flux, So when welding is getting done, the spatter or the fumes or any kind of spark is fully covered by this granular flux. So here the granular flux is provided, and the workpiece is moving forward. This one and this one is fixed in its own place. Only the workpiece is moving. So when the welding will be done, the granular flux will cover this portion. So when welding is getting done, some granular flux will be melted during this welding process. When some granular flux is melted, it will create molten flux on the welding zone, and some granular flux will be in its original form, that's in granular form. So there will be one extra tube, that will be vacuum tube. It will suck the extra portion of, or the extra granular flux which is in its original shape. So the unused granular flux will be sucked by this tube and will be reused by this process. So we can see that the welding zone is fully submerged by the granular flux. That's why it is called submerged arc welding process. So by using one wear spool, the electrode is fed up continuously, and the movement of the workpiece is also automatically. So this is a fully automated welding process. not only this, in submerged arc welding, the deposit is up to 10 kg of weld metal per hour. So this can weld in a very high speed. That's several times faster than manual arc welding process. So this is very faster process. So what is working principle of submerged arc welding? Firstly, the arc is struck between the bare metal electrode, that is the wire, and the workpiece. That is also done in electric arc welding. That's no problem. Then the flux covers the arc and the molten weld pool. So this is the extra step we are doing in submerged arc welding process. Here we can see that this is the granular flux hopper or the tube. It is providing the granular flux, and this is the consumer electrode is provided automatically. And here we can see this is the vacuum system to recover the extra portion of granular flux, and the movement of the workpiece is from here left to right. So firstly the granular flux deposits on the workpiece, and then the spark is generated. The spark is not visible to us, so no safety is required, because the spark is not visible, or the fumes is not visible to us, or the fumes cannot reach to us. And when the welding is done, few portion of granular flux is in its original shape. Those are collected, and some granular flux became molten and solid, and it creates slags or the solidified flux. And we are doing chipped. We are doing to clean the solidified flux. Different kind of machining process to remove the solidified flux. Then the heat of the arc melts both the electrode and the base metal, forming a molten weld pool. This is also done in electric arc welding. The flux melts partially to form slag, which floats over the weld and protects it from oxidation. And after cooling, the slag is removed. And if necessary, any kind of finishing or machining process is done, or the surface finishing process. So this is the working principle of submerged arc welding process. So in original, this is the submerged arc welding. We can see clearly. So this is the welding bed, and this is the fumes or the spark is generated, and these are the granular flux became red because of this spark is generated here. So this is the original submerged arc welding process. So what are the advantages of submerged arc welding? So we can get many advantages in submerged arc welding process. These are the few important. So here, high deposition rate, because it is not manual arc welding process. This is automatic arc welding process. That's why the deposition rate is very high. We can get deep weld penetration. We are getting deep weld penetration in this process, and also the weld is high quality and weld is clean welds, because it is not man operated. It is the machine operated or automatic. It is operated by a robotic system. That's why the welding quality is very high, and also the minimal spatter and fumes, and also suitable for automation and long welds. So we can do continuous welding process or a welding for long time, because there is no human fatigueness. So these are the advantages. Also these have some limitations or disadvantages. So this is limited to flat or horizontal position. So we can see in this figure that this portion must be in flat or horizontal position, because if the metal is in vertical or inclined condition, then the granular flux cannot be here. It will be down. It will get down by this slopiness. So, or in also the vertical position is not possible, because we can't stick the granular flux on the vertical surface. So only in flat position or in horizontal position the welding is only possible. That is also a very big disadvantage of this process. So also not suitable for thin materials, because the deposition rate is very high. That's why it is not possible or not suitable for thin materials. The flux handling and slag removal required. So we are using granular flux, and it is getting melted and deposited on the oil pool. So the slag removal is required. Also the flux handling. This is automatic, but the handling is also important and cannot be used in outdoors. So this is also cannot be used in outdoors. If we use this welding process in outdoors, the granular flux will consume humidity or will absorb the moisture. So these are the disadvantages. So where we use this submerged arc welding? So in shipbuilding we use submerged arc welding to create pressure vessel, to join large pipes and tanks. Also heavy structures structural are fabricated using this submerged arc welding process. So in this video I have discussed about the submerged arc welding process. Hope this video was useful for you. Thank you for watching this video. For more updates, subscribe this channel and hit the bell icon.